Forget about Behat for a few minutes. I want to talk about a totally different library. Imagine there were a simple PHP library that let you take command of a browser, surf pages, find links with CSS, click those links, fill out forms, and anything else you can dream up. Well, it exists, and it's called Mink. This is such a cool library that it deserves some direct attention. Start by creating a mink.php file right at the root of your project. And require Composer's autoload file. We'll use Mink all by itself, outside of Symfony, Behat, and everything else, so we can focus on just how it works. As awesome as Mink is, it only has 4 important objects. The first is the driver. Create a new driver variable and set it to new Goot driver. And now ignore it. I'll come back and explain important object number 1 in a little while. Let's move on to important object number 2, and the first that we really care about, the session. Add session equals new session, and pass it the driver as an argument. Okay, think of the session like a browser tab. Anything you can do in a tab, you can do in a session. And actually, that isn't very much. You can visit URLs, refresh, go backwards, go forwards, and that's about it. We'll use it to visit a very awesome and absurdly designed site, jurassicpark.wikia.com. After that, we'll just print out a few things about the page, like the status code and the current URL. To execute this, head over to the terminal and run php mink.php. Look at that. It's printing out 200 and a slightly different URL than we put in our code. When you go to the site in a browser, it redirects to the URL we see in our terminal. Mink is emulating a real browser by following redirects. But in reality, so far, it's making invisible curl requests. It's not using a real browser. The third important object is called the page. Grab it by saying page equals session arrow get page. I want you to think of this as the jQuery object, or the DOM. Anything you can do with jQuery, like select elements, click links, and fill out fields, you can do with the page. Less impressively, it also knows the HTML of whatever page we're currently on. Let's use it to print out this first bit of text on the page with vardump, substring, pageGetText, 0,75. Run that again in the terminal. Now we see the thrilling text of Parkpedia, Jurassic Park, dinosaurs, Steven Spielberg, and then there's some weird A:lang code stuff on the end. Open up the source of the page. The getText method returns anything other than the HTML tags themselves. The first part comes from the title tag, and then it grabs some other stuff from the style tag, which is technically text. But what we really want to do is find individual elements so we can click links and fill out fields. Let's talk about that next.